Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here and welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with a new story. The name of the story is What If Naruto Had the Powers of the Supreme Strange. And yeah guys, it is an unscripted story, and before continuing this, shout out is due where it is due. Shout out to Kaizen.70 for suggesting this idea. Now moving onwards, a little bit disclaimer, this is dark what if. So yeah, I hope you're ready for that. And moving onwards, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel, and follow me on my other channel Meta What If as well. Talking about that, as you might have guessed, there is no story there today. Well, I've come up with an idea. I will upload once on one day on both channels, and the day after that on Apollo Uchiha channel. In this way, Apollo Uchiha I will be able to continue on regularly, but on Meta I will upload one day after the other. And yeah, that's the gist of it. I will do in the summer most of the time, and after summer is over, in the winter, hopefully I'll be able to continue on both of the channels regularly. I hope you'll be able to deal with that, and yeah, don't mind. Anyways, enough said, enough of my ranting and babbling. Without any further ado, let's begin with our today's story. Our story begins long before the existence of the land of the elemental nations, even before the clan warring era, or even before the Sage of the Sixth Path, or any concept of chakra, long before even Kaguya's arrival. When humans existed as normal, there was a warring period of its own. In that era, while humans fought normally, there were a bunch of people who wanted to attain power, and they were able to grasp their hands on a book that existed from the beginning of the time, as it was mentioned on the first page of it. Within that very book were scriptures which were horrifying, but with the help of them and the methods, the people were able to attain extreme power, and some even immortality. They became so feared and so renowned that they were renowned and known in the whole world, but they also got greedy and corrupt and wanted everyone to worship them, and they wanted to become the new gods. And to deal with them, the people over the world gathered around as one in unison and went to war. They were extremely powerful, but only a few people in numbers, while the whole world, which were billions in numbers, rallied. They were able to take out millions upon millions of people, but they too went down one by one. For those who were left immortal were captured, and then they too were thrown into iron that was melting to a boiling point, and after that being dipped in them as the skin was being ripped apart. As they were screaming in agony and pain, they were dipped into cold water, being turned into living, solidified, mummified statues, and then buried under a long, deep tunnel that was dug on an undisclosed location. And then, after that, the remaining world, which was in lesser of numbers, resided in the form of small villages nearby as tribes. And after that, we see people tried their best from then on to erase the very existence about the knowledge of that book, where it was kept alongside those mummified statues of the immortals. As now we see, time began to pass by, but few people, the elder generation, kept the story alive, as they, in order to fear their children, begin to tell it as a horror tale. And as a myth, it became famous, and the book became to be known as the Book of the Beginning and the End, holding the power to destroy everything and corrupting every soul. As time went on, Kaguya Otsutsuki arrived as well, and everything went as in canon. And as her children were born, as she settled down in her own village, we see that they too became aware of the same book through their mother. As Hagoromo, after being revealed of the story at the age of 16, then said, "Mother, aren't we a little old about the story? And isn't it just a myth?" "It is not a myth. I sense a great, great evil presence that has been buried in the heart of this chest. I have been closer to this earth since I have learned the sage arts. Once you learn these arts as well, you too will be able to sense it. But I remind you again, my children, never go look for that book. it corrupts one's soul. As time went on, Kaguya fell into the temptation and only looked into one page of that book and turned to the darker side. Hagoromo as well as Homura, after finding out their mother's evil deeds, had no other choice but to seal her away. And so she was sealed away, thanks to their abilities and powers. But that also led them to find out about what has gone down. The book of the beginning and the end was discovered by their mother. And not only that, she only read one page and was able to achieve this level of power. And it has corrupted her soul. As both Homura and Hagoromo were worried, "Brother, what should we do? Our mother is being used by those and that evil book. Even if that is the case, one of us has to go and look out for her. I will find a cure to this." And Hagoromo tried his best as Homura left to guard as a warden for their mother. But he wasn't able to find anything. As time went on, his children were born, and even they grew up, and even they got corrupted. One of them at least, Indra. And he, alongside his clan that he artificially created thanks to the help of the book, was able to go to war with Asura, his younger brother. And that is where the clan warring era began, from the war started by the two brothers. As Hagoromo then ordered Asura to seal that book away, and after destroying Indra in the first lifetime, Asura did so as well, trying to destroy the book, but it just reanimated itself. So he sealed it away in a deep lush forest after creating it with his chakra, and hoped that no one will be able to find it, like his brother was able to do so. And soon after that, many centuries passed, but no one was able to locate that book. Not until 10 years after the QB attack. Now we go towards the present, on the outer skirts of Konoha. It was October 10th and nighttime, as a 10-year-old child was seen running away as fast as he could. And behind him, huge amount of mob was seen running, as they had torches lit up in their hands, pitchforks, as well as knives, and a lot of other sharp objects such as kunais and whatnot. And they, with a vicious intent, were chasing that child. As now we see, the child was whizzing through left and right through the lush forest as best as he could, trying to get away from that mob that was chasing him. Usually they would chase him around on the same day, but there was usually someone around to save him. But now, nobody was. He has been running across the whole village, and now even outside of the village, and still no one was there to save him. "Come on, where is everyone?" thought Naruto to himself. He was really hoping that someone would come and save him. As now we see, as Naruto was running, his foot suddenly got stuck until he heard a cracking sound and fell faceward into a huge hole. As the people halted, as they heard a huge thud falling down to the ground. As that is when people stopped and said, "What should we do? The demon fell into that hole." The demon got what it deserved. I mean, we all heard the thud, right? He has fallen to the ground. He won't be able to make it. I mean, what if the Kage finds out? What will happen if he won't be able to make it? Who cares? We haven't done anything. The brat fell on its own. Even if the Hokage catches us, it's not our mistake, right? Yeah, your logic kind of makes sense. As all of them then returned happily, knowing that the demon's demise has occurred. As back in Konoha, once Hiruzen became aware of this, he was downright outraged because the council has once more tricked him. The civilian council was happy, and that is when he had had enough. And he literally ripped them from their title and kicked them all out. As now we see, the elders then said, "What are we gonna do now, Hiruzen?" "What do you mean by that, Danzo? We don't have a Jinchuriki. Unfortunately, even if you see that a child has died, an innocent child. Yes, an innocent child. He was still our Jinchuriki, our trump card, our weapon. And now we don't have that. All because of the ignorance of your own people." "They are your people too, Hiruzen." "No, they're not. If they would have been, they would have listened to my pleas when I told them that he was just an innocent child. But none of them listened. Yes, I do know that. I have to find Naruto. Do you even know where it is? Who are the people involved? No. Then how are you gonna find him? No one's gonna speak about this. Then I will make them all talk one by one. Are you insane, Hiruzen? The daimyo? I have sent a letter to daimyo. As there was a monkey that appeared with a scroll. And he has just acknowledged the banishment of the civilian council from the council chamber. And he has also given me full authority to find the lost Uzumaki prince. Alongside with the Namikaze here. As their eyes widen, you can't be serious. That child was? Of course he was. Then why didn't you not tell us this? Were you blind? Danzo, from the look of it you knew. Of course I did. I didn't say anything because you didn't reveal anything. And then I understood the logic behind it, which was to keep it a secret from his enemies, from the outside the village. That was correct. At the time Konoha was weakened, Eva was looking in. Remember the skirmishes we had with them on the outer skirts near the borders? Yes, how can we forget about that? Said Danzo, as the other two were shocked. What are we gonna do? The people will kill us if they find out about this. Kill us? If anyone has a right, it is Minato and Kushina's to kill them. Talking about them. When are they gonna return? Said Danzo, shocking the other two elders even more. What are you two talking about? Minato and Kushina are in a comatose state. They just have been awoken. They were taken by Jiraiya to Mount Miyaboku, where chakra is much more pure, to increase their healing ability. And they have just awoken. I just received yesterday nighttime the news. What will they do once they return to find that their son, their child, has been murdered by these imbeciles? As both of the elders were now downright afraid, because they knew, even if Minato was able to calm down Kushina, no. Anyone in this world who could have been able to calm her down was Minato. And now even Minato might be on her side because they have just done something wrong by their child. But how is this even possible? Didn't he? He didn't. I stopped him. Just in the nick of time, as now we have a flashback on the night Naruto was born. Minato, what are you using? The Hakkai Fuyin seal. No, don't. There is another seal. A secret hidden one. It summons the Kami itself. Kami would punish you lightly, but it will help you. As now we see, Minato used that hand seal and Kami indeed appeared. As their punishment was to sleep eternally for 10 years without waking up, and that is what they did. And now they just have woken up. As now we see, as we go back to present, the elders were shocked, aside from Danzo. But Danzo, I still don't understand, how did you know? I have my own ways and spies. You're still operating Root? Root is necessary for this village, Hiruzen, even if you don't like it. As suddenly an Anbu arrived and whispered something in Danzo's ears, as now we see Danzo's Anbu vanished, as he smirked. I think we might have found a hole in which Naruto might have fallen down. What are we waiting for here? Let's go. As now we see on the other side, Jiraiya received a letter on Mount Miyaboku himself, as he was meeting with his students who have just gotten up and were trying to revitalize their body before their return. As Jiraiya was downright terrified and even hid the letter. Sensei, is everything fine? Yeah, Minato. I think we should stay here for a bit. As Kushina then said, why? I'm perfectly fine. I have to meet my son. As Minato also agreed, yeah, we want to meet our son. I don't know what we're gonna say to him, but I'm kind of afraid at the same time excited to meet him. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the thing is that I think it would be best if we hold that reunion for a bit. Sensei, what are you hiding? Said Minato. For years of spending time with Jiraiya, he knew something. As Jiraiya sighed, it seems some issue has arisen in the village. What issue? Said Kushina, immediately her maternal instincts kicking in. What kind of issue has arrived, Jiraiya? Tell it me. Instantly. It is regarding Naruto? Yes. Naruto was attacked by a mob, you see. Attacked by a mob? Said Kushina, as Minato was shocked as well. Who was the mob? Eva? Kumo? Someone outside from the village, right? No. They were Konoha's people. Sensei just got in touch with me after a long time. It has happened in the past. Happened in the past as well. I told you, Minato. I told you that this was an idiotic idea. Damn it. I trusted them. I trusted them, said Minato as he punched the tree next to him, turning him into a splinters as he was shaking violently. I need to go back now, Jiraiya. Now, said Minato, as Kushina was as much as enraged, as that is when the elders arrived, alongside Gamamaru, who was worried. Minato, Kushina, there is another grave news that I need to tell. What? Your son. He has become the Dark Star for the whole world. What? As Jiraiya's eyes widened. What do you mean by that? It is impossible. It cannot be true. The Dark Star is nothing more than a myth. No, it is not, Jiraiya. The predicament he is in, he has gone to the dark side. He has become from a light star to a dark one. And his darkness will spread out through the whole world now, erupting everything in its own darkness shroud. As Minato and Kushina were shocked as well. As Kushina then said, if that is what my son desires, so be it. I will be by my son's side. These people have betrayed us for the last time, and not like I have a clan waiting for me there as well. All I have is my son and my husband, and that is more than enough. With that, Kushina looked towards Minato as Minato looked down. Minato, please think this carefully through, said Jiraiya. I kind of agree with Kushina-sensei. I done everything for that village. Saved them multiple times. Even laid down my life almost for them. Even got my students killed. Just for their sake, so that they could survive. For their useless war. And what do I get in the end? Nothing more than betrayal. I betrayed Obito. I should have gone and saved him. I shouldn't have fought with your battles like you're strategically told. I should have listened to my heart back then. But I didn't. But now, I won't make the same mistake. I will listen to what my heart desires. I will listen to my wife, and we will go find our son and be by his side. As this was going on in the Elemental Nation, and with Naruto's family and village, we go towards Naruto, who has woken up just after a few hours of that fall, and he found himself in a dark, nothing more than darkness, as suddenly a light appeared, a bright red light. As Naruto could hear a whisper that told him to follow, as Naruto did curiously, because he didn't want to go up and meet with the people that were about to kill him. And soon he did. He came face to face with a leather-wrapped book in multiple shrouds of clothes. As Naruto was scared of the ominous energy there, as that is when we see Naruto heard a whisper, "Open it." As Naruto did, suddenly immense amount of knowledge as well as powers from the book literally turning from words into physical energy begin to enter, and it did continuously until Naruto fell face first to the ground, and the book became complete blank before turning into ashes. As now we go inside Naruto's mindscape, where we see Kyuubi, shocked as Naruto's soul was hovering, as each and every word carrying its own power, strength, and knowledge was entering inside Naruto, as the seal and the mindscape itself began to change completely. As Kyuubi's eyes widened, it cannot be. It was thought to be a myth. Father was right. Asura was right. We were young at the time, but we should have known better. The book of both the beginning and the end. Of all the places it was here. And of all the people it has to choose, it chose him. As suddenly Naruto's eyes opened. As Naruto was back in the cave. This time, he was different, cold, as he sat up and then closed his eyes. As that is when he began to notice what was going on in the whole elemental nation, and that is when he began to make changes. You see, in reality, this Naruto's parents didn't survive, but thanks to his abilities from the book that he has gained, Naruto traveled back in the past and changed the seal and changed the course of events, making his parents, instead of dead, turn into those who were sleeping eternally for 10 years as punishment of summoning Kami, developing a new seal altogether. He even went in past times to make sure that the seal was made. And not only that, in this way he was able to change the future already. He made a lot of altercations as well, making sure the world was ready for his return, the return of the Dark Star, the Supreme Sage. As Naruto then snapped his fingers as a cape materialized on his shoulder and back that allowed him to levitate before literally bursting a hole through the earth itself and flying up in the air. As Naruto smirked, now that I have my parents by my side, I need to have my own army, because I alone won't be enough to take over this world. But before that, as Naruto went away, far away into a location near a huge amount of ocean that was on the edge of the elemental nations, there he stomped once on his feet as earth began to rise, and from it a castle rose. As Naruto walked to it, and then he made a few hand signals, as he then said, "Arise." And so it did, as the whole castle began to levitate after a huge rumbling and began to fly, hover above into the air. As Naruto was standing on the edge of it and moving it closer to the center part of the elemental nation, as every village and its leader could see it, it was evident and quite abnormal, to the extent they felt some sort of fear. What kind of power resided on that castle that was high above so that nobody could reach it there? Even the Akatsuki could see it. Even the Idara's claybirds couldn't reach there, even if they tried. It was at that much high. As now we see, back in Konoha, as Naruto was witnessing with a smirk of his own, as he was preparing for an all-out war to shroud this world under his regime, that his mother and father has returned to Konoha and were demanding what happened to their son, as Naruto decided it was time to bring them to his side. As so, Naruto appeared. As the reality fabric in itself cracked with a broken glass, as Naruto from that castle walked just a few steps and entered the Hokage office. The crack in itself sealed the way as Naruto then said, "Greetings, people of Konoha. My name is Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki no Mikaze, the Supreme Sage and Sorcerer, and I am here to declare I will go to war with you all and the rest of the elemental nation all together. You have 1 month to prepare." As everyone looked towards Naruto to see that something was ominous about him, as that is when the amulet around Naruto's neck that too appeared alongside the cape became evident. As Hiruzen's eyes widened, "How do you have that, Naruto? That amulet, it's... I know. It's of those people of the past that are said to be myths that wanted to rule over the whole world. You found that book, didn't you?" "I am that book now, Hiruzen. That knowledge is coursing through my veins. I have become the beginning and the end." As all of them instantly got scared, because what Naruto was capable of doing shouldn't have been possible. Not even in a million years. As Naruto looked towards his parents and said, "I don't know what to say to you, but I'm glad that you are here now." As Naruto gave both of them a tight hug, as both of them wanted to apologize, but their words died down in their mouth as they hugged their child, as Naruto was happy to meet them. As Naruto then said, "Take this." It was a wristband of a sort, as both of them wore it, and immediately they too had the same abilities and powers as him. "You two will be acting as my generals and advisors from now on, for the new kingdom that will be born from now. You think we would allow you to leave so that now you have arrived here? What choice do you have? Anbus, attack them! As Naruto halted his parents and just literally snapped his fingers as the reality began to alter itself, as everything became different and disoriented, as the room began to turn upside down and around, as if it was a mirror house in which they were trapped in. As everyone was shocked and scared, as Naruto allowed his parents to walk with him, causing the same cracked glass like effect on the reality fabric and walking towards the castle. Mark my words, 1 month of time. As after that, Naruto and his parents disappeared and everything returned back to normal as they fell face first to the ground. What are we gonna do? That book. What is it, Hiruzen? You have a gang of learning about the history. That book is existing since the beginning of this very world. And you know something? That book has caused more damage than the rest of it. 80% of humanity was wiped out because of that book. And the remaining 20% vowed that they would let it become nothing more than a story or a myth, even if they couldn't kill it or hide it completely or erase it and hide it somewhere safe. They tried, but the son of a sage found it, and after that the other son sealed it away. Unfortunately, I think it was somewhere near where Naruto fell, and he discovered the seal in which it was sealed in. What are we gonna do now? That boy is extremely strong, and he's declared war on not only us, but the rest of the elemental nation. The boy is cocky, said Danzo. There are only 3 of them, even if they are supreme, sorcerer, or whatever not. They won't be able to do much damage. We have the advantage, as well as the experience. You don't understand? Hiruzen, what the hell has happened to you? Why are you acting so scared? He has every right to be scared, said Jiraiya. I came here not to be as a Sanin or of a sort, but to return my headband. I won't be participating in this elemental nation war, or stand up to him. The Toads have decided to surrender to him, and so will I. Jiraiya, are you insane? The boy possesses extreme power. A power so much that you cannot fathom. The great elder sage has been scared. As now we see, Monkey and Enmarav, what kind of monster have you pissed off? The Dark Star, of all the people, Hiruzen. Are your people insane? What Dark Star? Its darkness is soon going to engulf the world, because of the madness that has been going around. It is all your people's fault. As that is when Konoha realized just how bad they have done and fucked up. As now we see, the rest of the summoning clans from different elemental nations were telling them the same, and soon a Kage-sama letter arrived within a week. And so, they all arrived there, and were blaming one another, as Hiruzen then said, enough! We have to deal with this. There are only 3 of them. Even if they are strong, we are still extremely talented shinobis on our side, as well as Konoichis. We still have chances of taking them out. We have to try, said Oniki. We have to take out the Dark Star before it engulfs us all, as the prophecy states. As this was going on the other side, Naruto was resting completely fine. As right next to his throne room, there were 2 more thrones in which his parents were seated. Naruto, what is it, mother? What are we gonna do? There's only 3 of us. 3 are more than enough to deal with them. But I have a plan of my own. What plan, son? Said Minato. Would you like to see? Said Naruto with a smirk. Of course. As Naruto then walked in front of them, and then made a hand gesture as multiple portals began to appear, out of which multiple Narutos began to walk out. As these portals were not only 100 or even thousands, but millions upon millions and millions of Narutos. As all of them were wearing the same robes, similar to him, as they all looked towards him. Some were evil, some were much more corrupt, as they all looked towards Naruto. So you're the supreme sorcerer, huh? Yes. I am this world's. I have thought this thought thousands of years ago that you would summon me here. I have been waiting patiently for that. So when are we gonna attack? There's still a few weeks left. Then we can enjoy the terror on their faces when they see us all coming rushing down at them. Of course. That is why I called you all here. As this was going on, as Naruto was preparing, the Akatsuki was preparing for its own battle, since they had found out that the castle Naruto, in which resided in, and the Elemental Nation were going to go against one another in the war. As now we see, once the day of war arrived after a month, the Akatsuki were hiding, and the Elemental Nation forces, the Shinobi Alliance forces, were together. As the three people walked out, jumping down from the castle, as they, Kage said, "Surrender now. We don't have to do this. You and I know both that I won't do that. You're alone, three people. We are thousands. How are you gonna deal with us?" Who said we were alone? As a huge portal opened from which thousands upon thousands and even millions Narutos walked out. What is happening? Are they clones? I am beyond your cheap tricks. They're not clones. They are me from alternative realities, dimensions, brought here just to deal with you all over again like they have dealt in their own domains. As that is when the other 8 Bijus powered up. But we have the 8 Bijus by our side. Really now? As Naruto made a gesture and snap of his fingers, as from the ground beneath, necromanced 9 Bijus, and the 10th, Ten Tails itself arose, all looking like zombified versions of the real ones. Meet my demonic Bijus as well. Now we are even. Oh, sorry, we have the upper hand. Then let's begin, shall we? As what followed suit was one-sided annihilation. As the Bijus ripped out the other Bijus and absorbed their energies for their own selves. The Akatsuki tried to steal them away, but they too were killed and ripped to shreds and eaten alive by the Bijus. And as for the rest of the elemental nations, they were brutally killed by Naruto. All the while, he was hovering above the sky and monitoring it. As that is when the Kages charged towards him. As Naruto literally materialized a thin rope made out of power, physical manifestation, and tied them all together until he thinned it so much that it became razor sharp, and literally yanked it towards himself, ripping them all into million pieces, but snapping the finger back together to making sure that they stay alive but in agony. What have you done? I literally ripped out pieces of your souls. That is why you feel like you are in pain, but there are no physical wounds. As they were all shocked. As that is when we see Naruto then said, "It is time." As Naruto shot a black arrow that he made towards the moon. As from the moon came down Kaguya Otsutsuki. Naruto literally absorbed the dark energy that resided within her and became the full Dark Star. And as it was mentioned in the prophecy, he really did engulf the whole world into its darkness. As the armies of Naruto cheered over the dead bodies that laid in front of them, and the minor villages who surrendered to him after the fall of the Big Five were now under his rule. The daimyos were executed. Nobody was left to stand in his way. Naruto made sure of that. The once beaten and bruised and abused child had now become so powerful. And the first thing he did was to deal with people of Konoha, as once he set a foot inside they now were fearful, because this man alone has just wiped out all of their shinobi forces. As Naruto then said, "This place will be the place in which I will make my own hell." As Naruto slammed his foot in the ground, as everything began to burn, as all the people were being burned alive there, as Naruto enjoyed their agony as much as they enjoyed his. As in the end, he destroyed Konoha once and for all and returned to his floating castle, where he observed over his domain and waited for a newer Naruto to do the same. As he rewrote the whole book and sealed some of his power to allow the book grow, and went to the beginning of the time in another reality and placed it there. As Naruto smirked, looking towards us and said, pointing a finger towards his lip and saying, "Shh, keep it a secret, will ya?" Before leaving altogether, starting the cycle all over again. As this is where I'm going to be leaving the story of, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. As this is it for the day. Peace!